We're here with two members of Neon Gru. Am I correct in pronouncing the name correctly?
Correct.
Correct. And we have with us Ru. Raise your hand, Ru. Both of them, yeah. Whereabouts are you today?
I'm very near to Stansted Airport, actually. So just northeast of London in the UK, in the countryside, in our retreat, in the attic room. You're
the kind of keyboard player and producer in the group, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then we have Naomi, who is right up there. There she is. And she's the resident Kiwi of the bunch. So that's why we're very excited to talk to her. And whereabouts are you?
I'm like north of Amsterdam at the moment.
So what's happening in Amsterdam? Why are you there?
I'm currently here with my partner. He's got a work visa.
Oh, cool.
So we're living in a van at the moment and kind of driving around looking for a spot. It's an interesting time to be doing it.
I can imagine it is.
I'm amazed you found a reliable internet connection.
I know. I'm hotspotting off my phone from the side of the road in my van.
Nice move. Excellent. The things we can do these days. That's awesome. Okay, so it's a six-piece band. You guys are based in London. And how long have you been in London, away from New Zealand?
I moved in 2012, so yeah, 8 years now.
And I would be remiss if I didn't at least comment about your tiny desk appearance earlier this year with Harry Styles. That's pretty awesome. How'd that happen?
Yeah. Well, how did that happen? I mean, just gigging a lot, a lot, and badgering people to play with them, and trying to gather knowledge from wherever you can, and then someone seeing you and being like, "Yeah, come be weird over here," and you're like, "Okay."
Hey, cool. You did an excellent job. It's fantastic. So yeah, six-piece band. So how did you get involved with all the? How did you all come together?
Ru?
Well, we kind of all interacted at various festivals in the UK. We're all kind of infiltrated in the small festival scene here, where there's a beautiful collection of kind of tents and events and people that go around organising these little field parties filled with absolutely gorgeous music. And we all frequent them when we can during summer. And various combinations of us played together. And eventually it just seemed right for us to record, and I think it was George, our guitarist, who pulled him and myself and Nye and Leon together. And then after that initial meeting, we then got Nuno and David involved on drums, and that kind of solidified the band and the sound. And we've been and that kind of happened in 2018. Since then, we've been.
Right.
Just really
so did you have an idea? Did you have something in your head about what you wanted this band to sound like before you got everybody together?
Definitely not.
She's shaking her head no.
Definitely not. That was the special thing, is that like across those festival tents, so many different genres were played, and you know, you really go with the flow of sort of whoever's feeling the most inclined to lead at the time. And so to get us four together and just see what would happen was the exciting part about it, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you put out a single at the end of last year, and you got a new one coming out in like 2 days, right?
Yeah.
So it's called Hot Wine, and I guess for being in London, it's kind of a song for the end of the summer, but for here in New Zealand, we're just getting started. So, but I think it's going to have a similar effect. So, tell me a little bit about where the song came from and how it came to be.
Do you remember it, Ru?
Very vaguely. Like I can't remember where the bottle initially came from.
I remember it so clearly. We were all sat in the studio, and you were like, "All right, guys, we're gonna do a new jam. We've like set up all the gear. We're gonna record the jam, so I need a title for that." And he always does this at the start of a new jam. He's like, "I need a title for the track."
Right.
And he just talked about how he wanted to have a drink, and he'd got some like hot wine out of his car. And so I just looked at this bottle of hot wine and was like, "Yeah, hot wine." And it's kind of funny because a lot of our songs, we we'll start off with a silly title and it gets a bit more refined and a bit less sort of,
Sometimes, in this case, I'm not sure.
Sometimes.
yeah, in this
I love
case it had to stay.
It did.
So you guys pretty much just get in a room together and jam it out? Is that what happens?
Yeah, we kind of write while we're recording, because there's three of us in the band have home studios, so we're just, when we meet up, we set everything up to record properly so that we can then just improvise and then take bits of those jams and form tracks that way. So we're very much a studio band so far. We haven't actually done any kind of full live gigs. We've just been entirely in the studio writing and making recorded content.
Well, it seems to be a good time for that anyway, since nobody's doing any gigs.
Yeah,
so
not that we have much choice at this time.
Definitely, but we've used this time. Well, you've used this time, Rue, very well to sort of collate a lot of our ideas that we've, we don't get a lot of time to spend together throughout the years that we've been together. So the time that we do spend is always really well organized and like, okay, we're going to jam for this long and blah, blah, blah. So the time to refine doesn't get to happen in person. It has to happen online. And so that's been an interesting one, especially this year. It's become more online, and it's like
definitely
really a new way of working together as a band, and it's crazy.
And do you think it affects the music itself?
How so?
The working online more than kind of face to face. Does it have an effect on what we hear at the end of the when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, well, we haven't actually tried doing anything kind of ground up remote. Like all of our tracks have started with us together in the same room.
Right.
And that's always been the initial spark, I think. So I'm curious to try writing. I think we're going to be trying it soon of just like throwing ideas around the internet to each other and seeing how that goes down.
Right.
So far we've always written in person.
Right.
But one of the things I think is so magical is that you can try these different workflows and always get different results. So we're not going to work the same way for any of our songs. It's that makes everything unique and have its own special place.
Now you've got an EP on the way. I Am a Bird. Is that correct?
Yeah, boy.
And what condition is that? Is it finished, or are you still working on it, or what's the story?
It's finished. We have so much music that's finished.
Really?
Pretty much. Yeah, it's very exciting. That one's definitely finished, and we're very happy with it, and it's a really happy EP, don't you think, Rue?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty reflective at times as well, but there's some definite hopefully some euphoric moments, and then some plenty of introverted time for I don't know really. I don't know what context people are going to be listening to this in. We're hoping with Hot Wine that we can get a few people dancing to it, because we haven't
just one or two.
We haven't had the chance yet to have anyone dance to our music, which is one of the most pleasurable things about playing music.
Yeah.
So
I miss the booties. Where are the booties?
Exactly. Could be the big question of 2020.
What happened to the booties?
So how many tracks are on the EP?
Well, we haven't actually decided whether it's 4 or 5 at this point. We're still umming and ahhing, but there's definitely 4 tracks, and they're all whoppers, including a version of Moonlight. We released a live version of Moonlight about a month ago.
I saw that, yeah.
Which is a stunning song, and we've got the studio version of that on the EP. We've got Hot Wine, and we've got a few others, which will remain mysterious at this point. We're not sure exactly where they're going to go. Nice says they're finished, but there's still a bit more tweaking to do.
I'm impatient. It's the emotional attachment to it. It's like, this is speaking for me now. Let's go. Let's get rid of it.
I get the feeling really that the move forward is coming from you. Yeah. It is.
I'm so impatient. Rue plans things out so meticulously and wonderful, and I'm like, can we just come on?
Oh man, well, it's got to be frustrating. And I read a bit of some of the press that you sent me, and accordingly, you're kind of involved with London's underground music scene, and I was just wondering what that entails these days.
Well, I mean, there's a huge network of underground music in London. It's such a vast scene. I mean, to call it one scene is well, it is what it is. But I mean, in our case, there's just a large number of venues that are also connected with these small festivals that we've met at, places that we all have played at and jammed at and have been a part of. Our guitarist George is based in New Cross in South London, so we've been in that area a lot and played in the pubs around there as various configurations, but just not as Neon Gru at this point. But there's just London is this vast melting pot of gorgeous music on so many levels as well. I mean, there's the major stuff which everyone sees, and then there's also the small gigs which are just completely meaningful,
just community driven music. Music that doesn't really leave London,
right?
But it drives London and it fuels London, and it's so nice. It's
so is there
so nice. It's what keeps me coming back.
Associated with this scene? Because I remember a long time ago, I was in London in like '89, and that was just when the acid jazz thing was kind of kicking off, and Giles Peterson and all that, and that was kind of the vibe then. So how would you describe what's happening music-wise there now?
Well, I mean, it depends. Sorry, Bru, you go.
No, go for it.
Well, it depends on the area. That's what I was going to say, because there are some really strong sort of genres and vibes, for lack of a better word, coming out of different areas. For example, like South London with its like jazz, sort of more new jazzy scene. I don't know if I'm trying to think about. I mean, Camden used to be a big songwriter scene, but it's not so much anymore.
Right.
It's kind of spreading out a bit, and it's I think a lot of the venues are going, and it's been interesting to see how people are trying to get around that, like right now in London, and warehouses and boats and just wherever the fuck they can stand.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the scene here in Auckland as well. Everybody's worried about the venues and how they're going to survive with nothing happening so much. So same thing, I guess, everywhere, right?
Yeah, major problem. Major problem.
Yeah, it's going to look very different when it comes back.
Yeah. And any clue as to when that's going to happen in London?
I'd love to know.
Okay. And when was the last time?
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to have to figure out some adaptations, which are going to be interesting. Like, I think there's going to be a lot more outdoor gigs. I think there's probably going to be some catastrophes with venues that are going to result in a kind of reverse reaction of supporting the venues that are still there. And I don't know. I mean, the community's so vibrant and so alive that it's going to pull through. It's just there's going to be casualties, and we've got to adapt and figure out how what our lives look like now, because it's so all of our habits have changed, and we've just got to learn new skills and get on with figuring out how to do this safely.
Yeah. So I was trying to ask, when was the last time you were back in New Zealand?
Back in New Zealand, I was there in January.
Ah.
Yeah, I was there in January. I played at the Festival of Lights in New Plymouth.
As a solo artist?
Yeah, just did a solo set with a mandolin player, and my mum came out and played the flute. It was
fantastic.
Such a good evening. I love New Plymouth. It's my favorite.
Very cool. Yeah. And do you follow much of the New Zealand music scene? Are there any artists that you kind of keep track of?
Oh, I love lots of New Zealand artists. I love Serious Happiness, Nadia Reid, Louis Baker. I mean, I regularly go down wormholes of. I love Troy Kingi.
Oh yeah, Troy was just up here. He just released an album on Friday.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Yeah, it was great. Exactly.
I think I messaged him after his last album came out and was like, if you're ever in London, I'm doing your backing vocals for you, please. He was like, all right.
Fantastic. So once we can start acting normal again, is there plans for the band to actually perform in front of people?
On my demand, yes.
Well,
Okay.
first of all, us acting normal is, I'm not sure what that's going to look like, to be honest.
So true.
Yeah.
We're gonna gig, right, Roo?
Yeah, we're going to gig. And the gigs are going to be great. I mean, the thing is, we've got this massive opportunity before our first gig of we'll probably, you know, we might have an album out before we gig. I'm not sure at this rate. But the fact is that by the time we get round to our first gig, we're going to be so prepared.
Yeah.
We're going to be so ready that it's just going to be fantastic. And I'm really excited for it. Like the first big gigs back are just going to be so euphoric. It's going to be such a privilege to be able to share that with a group of people again. So we'll definitely gig. It's in terms of longer term plans, it's all up in the air, but we're committed to this, and we're excited to see where it goes, really.
Cool. Well, hopefully you'll come down here at some point. I'm sure.
I've been trying to get them down there.
Drag you down.
I've been trying. I want to do some like studio swaps. So like bands in New Zealand can come and use our studio weird spaces, and then we can go and use theirs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to help me hook that up. Let's do it.
I'd be more than happy to do that. Thank you. Good luck with the single. Hopefully, I assume people can download it or listen to it or whatever.
Everywhere. Stream it, playlist it, throw it in the bin, pick it up, put it on an ice cream, eat it, put it in the microwave, anything.
Cool. And then the EP will be coming soon as Rue gets it together.
Yeah, as soon as Rue, look at him locked in his poor bedroom. We don't let him out. We make him mix. Just keep mixing and we give him biscuits.
Just move the fade. Just move.
There it is. Another track done. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, that'll be in winter, although we're not being any more specific than that at this point, but it will be winter this winter.
He'll be wearing a jersey, but that'll be the only difference.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day.
Thanks so much for having us, Marty. We really
My pleasure, believe me. Well, hopefully we'll see you in the flesh at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope so.
Ka kite.
Bye-bye.